Good evening. My name is Leslie Mills and I am your Executive Director. I am pleased and honored to welcome you to Beth Israel's annual meeting. While we have not fully reopened Beth Israel, we chose to film our annual meeting from our beautiful Glickman-Gallinson Sanctuary as a reminder to all of us that our synagogue home remains strong, close to our hearts, and ready to welcome us when the time is right. During the filming, we are taking all the necessary precautions, such as physical distancing, to ensure the safety of our participating lay leaders, staff, and crew. As we work with a new modality in presenting this meeting, we wanted to give you a summary on how the meeting will flow tonight. First, we will conduct a vote on our nominating committee candidates. Then we will start with the blessing and remarks by our acting senior rabbi, Arlene Bernstein. This will be followed by appreciation of retiring board members, appreciation of the search committee, and presentation of the Volunteer of the Year award. Next, we will hear remarks from our Beth Israel president, Kimberly Carnot. This will be followed by a Q&A open forum. We have received questions in advance, but you may also submit questions in the Zoom chat bar. We will do our best to answer any questions you may have. Next, we will hear nominating committee election results, then remarks from our senior rabbi transition committee co-chairs, Wayne Schwartz and Robin Spiegel, along with brief comments by our incoming senior rabbi, Jason Navarez. We will conclude tonight's meeting with a surprise special tribute for our beloved Rabbi Cantor Bernstein. During the meeting, please note we will be muting attendees except for the Q&A open forum. Before I turn the meeting over to Rabbi Bernstein, we will ask you to vote on 4 individuals who will be filling 4 one-year terms of our nominating committee, which is responsible for identifying potential candidates for leadership positions within our synagogue. Shortly, you will see a screen where you can elect these individuals by clicking the box by each name listed. Your vote is anonymous. Keep in mind, voting can only be accessed through the Zoom application on a computer, phone, or tablet. If you are on a call-in connection, you will not have access to voting. We will allow 2 minutes for people to cast their vote. Thanks again for attending, and I hope you enjoy the meeting.
Erev Tov Lekulam. Good evening, friends. This was not exactly the year we all planned to have together after our last annual meeting. Instead, it has essentially been a year of transition filled with guests, interims, new ways to learn and pray, and then without the warning we needed, a pandemic that took and is still taking lives in staggering numbers, followed by a worldwide uprising to ensure that everyone understands Black lives matter. I'm pretty certain no one was prepared for all of this. We are over 1,100 families strong at Beth Israel, well over 3,000 souls. What our congregation has accomplished this year is no less than extraordinary, guided by our hardworking board, remarkable senior staff, and 2 dynamic search committees built upon each other, who found a rabbi for our future and managed to make certain our congregation stayed strong and stayed connected. We are forever changed as a world, and you probably know that we are forever changed as a synagogue. Alfei todot, 1,000 thanks to all who kept us going and indeed helped us to grow through this together. Thank you to our president, Kim Carnot, our executive director, Leslie Mills, to Dan Jones and Eileen Tatro, and especially for his work above and beyond, my rabbinic partner, Rabbi Jeremy Gimbel, who helped turn this congregation from a community of in-person connection to an even larger community of virtual personal connection. There's literally no way to show enough gratitude to our singers and instrumentalists, the Gantwerk Mayer family in particular, Heidi, Andy, Gabriel, and Sebastian, the Myers family, the Hirschfelds, the young Gimbels, and congregants who so willingly participated in worship with hours of practice and recording, lifting our spirits and filling our souls. In the wake of tragedy comes a silver lining. In our case, I believe, garnered strength. In need and desire for spirituality, prayer, song, and community, more congregants are coming to our Friday night services at home than ever before. We are virtually creating not only Friday night worship, but also Shabbat morning minyan, festival services, and Torah study. Zoom funerals and Shiva minyanim have become gratefully accepted rather than dreaded. In strange ways, these life cycle events, along with Brit Milah and baby namings, provide us a sense of connection, not only with our immediate community, but with friends and family, literally across the world. I am grateful to Rabbis Bohm, Grobart, and Lawson for being part of our Torah study corps, along with Rabbi Gimbel this year, and for adding courses to our learning repertoire. And no amount of thanks is sufficient for our senior staff, Simone Blaze, Natalie Vanderberg, Katie Lindley, Bethany Eisenberg, Eileen Tatro, Meg Mandel, Kathy Goldberg, Marcia Wallner, Rabbi Gimbel, and our executive director, Leslie Mills. I believe there is no stronger, more talented senior staff in the country. Toda Rabah, abundant thanks to the entire support staff who are always there for us and carry on behind the scenes work that allows us to function effectively. Love and thanks to Leanne Schaller, Susan Hutchison, and Heather Taylor Williams, who helped hold Rabbi Gimbel and I up to create worship, life cycles, and pastoral craft through a new worldview without missing a beat. Our congregation lost so many important and beloved people this year, and we remember them with grateful hearts. As well, in addition to the many new and returning members, we gained some extraordinary people in our community through conversion. Rabbi Gimbel and I were aided by Rabbi Emeritus Michael Burke and Interim Educational Director Marcia Wallner for the Batei Din. Marcia, knowing that you will be with us in our high school program next year to teach, makes it a bit easier to say goodbye as our interim director. We wish you well in the many hours of your life that will be returned to you this coming year. Many thanks for your service. And one more thanks to Robert McLeod, our organist, for well over 30 years. He is retiring. Even before playing organ, Bob, was a tenor in our professional choir, and we are grateful to you, Bob, for your loyalty and your artistry. And I think I can speak for Cantor Merrill as well and let you know just how grateful we both are. We wish you well, good health, and long life. With all of the recent trauma, we don't want to forget the beautiful outdoor summer services and high holidays, Thanksgiving and Hanukkah services we all celebrated together with our youth and teen choirs, our adult choirs, and bands. And these also include Buddy Voigt, Mila Wingard, Lou Rosen, Emily and Kate Chasen, and Noah Hampshire, Corey Briggs, and Bill Greenwald, and so many who lifted up our transition year. And as well, we can't forget the remarkable programming that has gone on this year. When Jews first arrive in a new city, town, or village, their first jobs are to purchase and wall off a cemetery, to build a mikveh, a ritual bath, and to create a place to pray and study. In essence, we have, for the moment, come to a new place to build a synagogue. We have created a place for virtual emotional immersion, for virtual prayer where hundreds can gather safely to mourn and to pray. We miss our house of prayer and study, and we miss each other in ways we would not have imagined before. But until we return home, until we all ascend the steps of our sacred space, we are safe, we are whole, and deeply connected. And we will welcome our new rabbi and his family and help him lead us until and long after we are all standing together here again. We will ensure as a loving community that we will come and go in peace and in safety. Boachem l'shalom, b'tzeitchem l'shalom. I am so grateful to be part of this deep and strong community. Through unprecedented times, we have demonstrated courage, resourcefulness, and strength. May we continue to go Mechayil el Chayil, from strength to strength. Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Good evening. My name is Kim Carno, and I have the honor of serving as president of Beth Israel. I've been in this role for 1 year, 13 months. I'm sure most of the presidents who have come before me will say the role of being president is a tough job, and about this time in their tenure, it had felt like much longer than a year. But this is 2020, the longest year ever. A wise person once said, "The only time you should ever look back is to see how far you've come." Standing before you this evening, admittedly in a mostly empty room, I can honestly say I am incredibly proud of how far Beth Israel has come. Outgoing board members, thank you to Tanya Malk, April Fink, Greg Markow, and Gary Hirschfeld, who are concluding their board service this evening. Tanya has been on the board for 1 year, April for 8 years, serving as a vice president, Greg for 10, serving as our treasurer, and Gary for 11 years, serving as our president. We have benefited from your wisdom, your dedication to Beth Israel, your leadership, and your willingness to give back to our community. You are leaving behind big shoes to fill. Appreciation of the search committee. I want to acknowledge the members of the search committee that found our senior rabbi. Allison Golding, Dan Jones, Dave Kuhn, Heather Keith, Jerry Goldberg, Kevin Berkowitz, Meryl Maneker, Rob Rubin, Robin Spiegel, Russ Gold, and Tammy Venner. Getting to co-chair this search gave me a front row view of the amazing work completed by this dynamic group. Countless hours screening application materials, ranking candidates, interviewing, performing due diligence, deliberating, and ultimately concluding with a selection recommendation. If you look at before and after photos of presidents of the United States, you see how much they aged from the heavy burden of serving for 4 and in some cases 8 years. The search committee jammed that much effort and care into 6 months. Beth Israel benefits from their efforts with the impending arrival of Senior Rabbi Jason Navarez. Please join me in thanking them for their service and a job well done in finding our next spiritual leader. Volunteer of the Year Award. It is my pleasure to present the Volunteer of the Year Award to my good friend Allison Golding. Allison served on Phase 1 of the search committee, co-chaired Phase 2, and is a member of our board. In the search committee, Allison led us in a Strengths Finder exercise so we could build a foundation of understanding and trust to enable open discussions later on in our deliberation process. To know Allison is to know her top 5 strengths: includer, woo, arranger, communication, positivity. As a volunteer, Allison has helped us stretch our circle wider, include. She wins others over, woo, conducts our discussions by arranging variables in the most productive configuration possible, arranger, and brings imagery to our discussions with visuals like thread the needle, communication, and her enthusiasm, warmth, and ability to see the positive in any situation is infectious, positivity. I cannot quantify the amount of time or the quality of time Allison has given to Beth Israel. Her contributions are immense. Thank you, Allison, for all you do for us and for your willingness to give so generously of yourself. Beth Israel is a better place because you are a member. Because everything feels like a production these days, my presidential remarks will be anchored to references from musicals and theatrical experiences you may be watching from home these days. Financials, brought to you by the Pajama Game, 7.5 cents. So, although 7.5 cents doesn't buy a heck of a lot, 7.5 cents doesn't mean a thing, but give it to me every hour, 40 hours every week, and that's enough for me to be living like a king. Beth Israel continues to remain financially strong despite these challenging times. We can no longer rely on budgetary trends, but are instead constantly revisiting our forecasts because things change daily. Budget reevaluation will be a constant going forward as we gauge this new normal and its impact on temple life as well as the life of our congregants. We are forecasting a surplus in the fiscal year ending June 30th because we received CARES Act funding. Prior to receiving this payroll protection funding, we anticipated a deficit due to decreases in revenue streams. The CARES Act funding won't address all of our needs, but it does help us weather the pandemic and focus our efforts for the 2021 year, where we are projecting losses in revenue streams across the board. To help balance our books in 2021, we are projecting cuts for personnel and operations. You may contact our Executive Director, Leslie Mills, to request a summary financial report. Security, brought to you by Cats, McCavity the Mystery Cat. McCavity, there's no one like McCavity. He's a fiend in feline shape, a monster of depravity. You may meet him in a by street, you may see him in a square. But when the crime's discovered, then McCavity's not there. Under the leadership of its chair, Dan Jones, and now Mike Chasin, our Security and Safety Committee continues to provide strong oversight of our security operations. We were awarded $192,000 in government grant funds to improve our security presence on campus, including bulletproof glass for our front lower classroom windows, increased camera coverage, and improved fencing and lighting. This work is expected to commence this summer. Our Security and Safety Committee produced a security and emergency preparedness program. In addition, in partnership with our religious school and caring community, we assembled emergency preparedness buckets for our campus and community members in need. Senior Rabbi, brought to you by Camelot, I wonder what the King is doing tonight. And oh, the expectation, the sublime anticipation he must feel about the wedding night to come. Well, I'll tell you what the King is feeling tonight. He's numb, he shakes, he quails, he quakes, and that is what the King is doing tonight. Hopefully you have seen the Rolling with the Rabbi videos as our new senior rabbi, Jason Navarez, and his family make their move west in anticipation of his July 1 start date. We are committed to setting Rabbi Navarez up for success and assuring a successful transition into our community. Wayne Schwartz and Robin Spiegel, who will speak briefly towards the end of the meeting, are co-chairing the transition committee. They are joined by other committee members, Kim Carno, Allison Golding, Cynthia Fram, Leslie Mills, and Meg Mendel. Rabbi Navarez is already actively engaged in synagogue meetings. He is participating in strategic discussions and has already met with staff as well as some past and present Beth Israel lay leaders. All of you have a role in this transition as we welcome our new senior rabbi. Stay tuned for opportunities to virtually welcome and meet Rabbi Navarez. Our deepest heartfelt thank you to Acting Senior Rabbi Arlene Bernstein for being our spiritual leader this past year. It has been my honor to serve alongside you and to learn from you. I hope you enjoy the surprise we have planned for you towards the end of our meeting tonight. COVID-19 response and planning for reopening, brought to you by Frozen 2, Into the Unknown. What do you want? 'Cause you've been keeping me awake. Are you here to distract me so I make a big mistake? Or are you someone out there who's a little bit like me, who knows deep down I'm not where I want to be? Every day's a little harder as I feel my power grow. Don't you know there's a part of me that longs to go into the unknown? When stay-at-home orders were issued, we moved quickly to comply. We deployed digital modalities for our worship services, life cycle events, Torah study and minyan, education, and programming. During the closure, we increased remote access capabilities for our staff and committees. Only essential workers were allowed on campus and only with staggered schedules. We also maintained a strong security presence. We completed deep cleaning and addressed general maintenance needs. We enhanced our cleaning protocols to ensure continued cleaning and disinfecting. As we look to the reopening of our synagogue, we are taking a methodical yet fluid approach. Ability to return from a health order standpoint does not mean we as a community are ready or all feel comfortable returning. Restrictions on gathering sizes and limitations on vulnerable populations' participation will likely continue for a while and will continue to inform our planning and decision-making. We will continue to offer vibrant and inclusive pathways for remote participation even as we look to return to our campus. Our schools. Preschool summer camp opened on June 15th. Detailed action plans and protocols were created. These included staff training, limited class size, staggered pickup and drop-off times, health screening and temperature checks, and enhanced cleaning. The plans and protocols followed guidelines issued by the CDC, San Diego County Health, and state licensing. In addition, they were further vetted by the medical professionals in our community and synagogue leadership. Religious School is working on virtual camp options for July. As guidance continues to change, we may deliver some on-campus options for camp as well. We will conduct our popular B'nai Mitzvah Boot Camp using a hybrid model of virtual and on-campus participation in August. All activities will follow published guidelines and best practices. All planning includes the ability to revert to earlier phases as needed. Worship experiences and life cycle events, services. We plan to start recording services on the temple premises in July. Our goal is to welcome at least some congregants to attend these services in person beginning in August. We will continue to offer services virtually. Programming. Torah Study and Minyan will remain virtual, as will most programs for now. We may offer some in-person gatherings starting in September. Life cycle events. B'nai Mitzvah services will restart in August with the availability of clergy-led virtual services or small on-site services. High holidays. We have formed a high holiday task force to plan our high holiday experience. Keep an eye out for a high holiday survey in the coming weeks. We continue to work on figuring out the best ways to engage our members in the spiritual work of the season at home and in our spaces. We welcome your ideas. You can check our COVID-19 corner on our website for continued updates on reopening measures. Conclusion, brought to you by the greatest showman, the greatest show. It's everything you ever want, it's everything you ever need, and it's here right in front of you. This is where you want to be. This is where you want to be. I look forward to welcoming you all back to our Beth Israel home when the time is right for you. I'm delighted to share that we have entered into a new contract with Assistant Rabbi Jeremy Gimbel. Rabbi Gimbel's contribution to our clergy suite, particularly in the past year, have been incredible, and his diverse strengths enrich our community. We look forward to how he will continue to grow and develop in his rabbinate. Also, we have hired a new Director of Education, Rose Orlovich, who will join our staff on July 1. Thank you to Interim Director Marsha Wallner for keeping the religious school strong and flexible during the past year. We continue to go from strength to strength, and this community has shown time and time again that it can adapt and thrive. Thank you for letting me be part of it all. And now we will be responding to your questions. This portion of the meeting is brought to you by the Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy meets the Scarecrow. Scarecrow. That's the trouble. I can't make up my mind. I haven't got a brain, only straw. Dorothy. How can you talk if you haven't got a brain? Scarecrow. I don't know, but some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they? All right, so we have assembled here a panel of experts to answer your questions. We did receive some questions in advance as well. If you want to type your question into the chat bar, we will try to answer as many of them as we can in this time allotted. The first question we received, with 4 board members stepping down, will those seats be filled? And so I will go ahead and take that question. Per the bylaws, the president can appoint to fill unfinished terms. And so Mike Chasen and Kevin Berkowitz have been appointed to fill the positions vacated by Gary Hirschfeld and Tanya Malk. The nominating committee helped identify these candidates and helped select them to fill these open seats. Our next question, what kinds of staffing and other cuts are being considered or were implemented? I'll have Leslie respond to that one.
We made reductions across a number of areas, including our facilities, administration and education. With reduced class sizes and enrollment, we did have to reduce some of our teaching staff. Other examples of reductions is like food costs were scaled down based on projected need. We're not going to have as many events on campus. Core staff remains so we can continue to serve our members and our community needs. And we are moving to a lot of digital modalities, which has increased the workload in a number of areas. And we just continue to monitor the balance between income and expense to try to keep a tight rein on the situation.
Thank you. The question is, how can we get to know Rabbi Navarez? And so we're exploring a variety of options and opportunities, which could include Zoom meetings with religious school families by grade levels, interacting with our B'nai Mitzvah families, neighborhood gatherings, Havarot and committee groups. Where possible, and if this can be done safely, we are considering in-person gatherings, again, subject to health orders and what we think is best at that time. Next question is, what are Rabbi Navarez's plans for the coming year? What are some of the first relationships he wants to build with organizations outside the temple? I will send that one to Leslie as well.
Well, some of you know, to quote Rabbi Navarez, it's all about relationship, relationship, relationship. He wants to get to know us and to learn to that which we really aspire, what keeps us up at night. He plans to meet with many community leaders, and such as those who head up the Anti-Defamation League, Jewish Family Service, Jewish Federation, just to name a few. He also seeks to build relationships with other rabbinic leaders in the area. Rabbi Navarez is also further interested in continuing our work in and enhancing ties to the leaders of other faiths.
Next question is, what will Rabbi Cantor and Rabbi Gimbel's roles be now that we have a senior rabbi? And so first off, thank you again to acting senior rabbi for the fantastic work you have done in this past year. So regarding this question, the way our position descriptions are written for our clergy is intentionally flexible so that the full needs of our community can be met. Rabbi Navarez will be working with each member of our clergy team to best utilize the collective strengths of the full suite and to mentor where needed. This is an incredibly exciting time for Beth Israel. We have an extremely talented clergy suite to draw from, and we're very excited about the coming months. The next question is, what will High Holidays look like, and will there be ticket sales? Why don't you start us off on that one, RC?
Okay. We have convened a High Holiday task force, and we're planning hybrid High Holidays so that the experiences we offer will be both in person and virtual modalities to worship, learn, and be in community. We are working on a survey to understand the needs of our community, what's important. We are talking to other similar-sized congregations across the country to see how they are planning their services as well. We, of course, will follow the health orders and other guidance that will inform all of our decision-making. When Rabbi Navarez is here, starting on June 1, our committee will begin meeting. In terms of ticket sales, I'm going to pass that to Leslie.
We are still weighing on how we're going to cover our costs. It's certainly a whole new paradigm, and we're very committed to creating a meaningful High Holy Day experience, which does involve expenses. So we will keep you informed on that front as we move further.
So there are some questions in the chat bar related to financials. So we'll shift to those for a second here since we're on that theme. The first question is, how much extra per member would be required to balance the budget? It would be good to let people know many of us would gladly step up. I'm going to trail a second question to that, which is, not sure if this was already addressed, but did CBI receive any payroll protection funds? And so the answer to that question is yes, but I'll let Leslie take both of those financial questions.
Yes, we did receive some funds from the government to help us weather this storm. It's not going to address all our concerns, but it's definitely been of great assistance to us. The way families can help is our sustaining dues level, our membership commitment level is $26.50 per family. if everybody could step up either to that amount or to whatever they feel comfortable doing, it would mean a great deal to keeping our organization moving forward.
Okay, our next question is, what is the plan for religious school in September? And will we be able to be on campus? Leslie, do you want to take that one?
Sure. We did survey our religious school families recently, and based on that feedback, we do plan to offer a hybrid model of both digital and in-person learning opportunities. The opportunities on campus will involve staggered schedules and smaller class sizes to maintain best practices, including physical distancing, enhanced cleaning protocols, and health checks. Should we need to, we will move completely virtual if there are stay-at-home orders issued by the county. I want to also note that how wonderful the families and the teachers work together to bring our kids a wonderful experience in the last part of the school year that has recently ended. We were able to maintain our strong connections even with the virtual opportunities because people were willing to embrace those modalities to provide a Jewish experience. We hope to get better at this as we get better at working with the technology.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and so that is going to go back to Leslie, who's doing a fantastic job of answering all the questions. Leslie, tell us how preschool camp is going this summer. How many kids are enrolled, and how is that going?
We currently have an average of 36 young people in our preschool right now. We opened on June 15th. And it has been really a very top-notch effort led by Kathy Goldberg, our director of the Early Childhood Education Program. We expect to actually get over 40 children attending the preschool in July. The teachers have been working incredibly hard. New protocols on cleaning, operation overall have been instituted. And we are taking things very carefully and slowly, but we're very pleased with the outcome.
Great. Thank you very much, and we appreciate all the questions. We appreciate all of you that are attending our annual meeting, but we want to make sure that we stick to our schedule here. So we will be closing out the Q&A forum at this point and continuing to share with you our nominating committee election results. It's my pleasure to share with you the results of the nominating committee election. Ida, Mike, John, and Rob have all been elected to serve 1 year on our nominating committee. Congratulations. It is now my honor to introduce to you the co-chairs of our Rabbinic Transition Committee, Robin Spiegel and Wayne Schwartz.
Good evening. I'm Wayne Schwartz, and I'm pleased to be co-chair of Rabbi Navarez's Transition Committee. I share this honor with Robin Spiegel. My wife and I and our family have been members at Congregation Beth Israel for over 40 years, and I am a former past board member. Interesting, when I first saw Rabbi's name in print, Nevarez, what jumped out at me as a pronunciation was Nevar easy. And how apropos, because things are truly never easy, but it's the challenges that we have to face. Right now, we have a pandemic and a lot of other social issues. But as we do as Jews, we take the challenges and we try to meet them. And speaking of challenges, our transition committee has a challenge. Prior to COVID, we were set to have many in-person meetings with the rabbis so the congregation could get to know them as early as possible. Now we're going to rely upon technology for a while using Zoom, FaceTime, and then even some short and small groupings socially distant at the temple. But nonetheless, we will be able to usher the rabbi into Congregation Beth Israel. He'll learn who we are, and we certainly will learn who he is. And now I'd like to introduce Robin, who has a few things to say, and I wish you a good night.
Thank you, Wayne. Good evening, Congregation Beth Israel. As Wayne mentioned, I am his lucky co-chair of the Transition Committee, as well as a member of the Board of Directors, and was also a member of the search committee that excitedly brings you Rabbi Navarez. If you haven't already watched Rolling with the Rabbi, please go to Beth Israel's Facebook page to view some brief videos and hear his responses to submitted questions. This is a great way to start to get to know our new senior rabbi. Rabbi Navarez, his wife Nicole, and their children Ethan and Sophie are currently traveling to San Diego from New York in a rented RV, hence the title, Rolling with the Rabbi. And they will be here in just a few short days. Given the times and knowing that this is not exactly the transition onboarding we had anticipated for our new senior rabbi, we ask for your patience as we promise you many opportunities to meet him in the coming weeks. We can't wait for you to see just how lucky we got in finding him. We know he will be a wonderful addition to our congregation and community. Rabbi Navarez has some words to share with you next.
Good evening to all of my new friends. I wanted to say hello and share some brief words with you, as in 5 days' time, I officially begin my tenure as your new senior rabbi. As you watch this video, I am in the final stretches of a cross-country trek with my family, ready to make San Diego and Beth Israel our new home. As we begin this new chapter together, I'm acutely aware of the fragility in our world. I never thought that this time of new beginnings would be layered with the complexities of living through a global pandemic, coupled with a critical revelation that now is the time to bring the causes of racial justice to the forefront of our domestic agenda. I realize how unsettled many of us must feel in this moment, and it's well-founded. With all that is swirling around us, I came to understand and truly appreciate how critically important the role of the synagogue, and in particular, Beth Israel. This community possesses treasures that have and continue to help guide with invaluable programmatic, social, and spiritual capital. The Lord, Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, once said the following: "To be a Jew is to be an agent of hope in a world serially threatened by despair. Judaism is a sustained struggle against the world that is, in the name of the world that could be, should be, but is not yet." I have every confidence that we will weather these trying times together as one amazing community. Our mandate, both individually and collectively, is to be the sacred power of possibility, of transformation, of changing what is into what could be. I look forward to journeying with you.
Appreciation of Rabbi Cantor Bernstein, brought to you by Wicked for Good. I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them. And we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. There are no words to describe how much we have benefited from you serving as our acting senior rabbi. Your willingness to serve in this capacity on top of your existing responsibilities for the past year, and to be in this role during COVID-19 and the extra stress it put on our community. We cannot thank you enough. That said, we're going to try. The board has donated the seed money to create a garden sanctuary in your backyard. Anyone in our community is welcome to join in this effort by contributing to the Rabbi Cantor Garden Gift Fund through Beth Israel. And now, we have a brief video to share with you as we begin to say thank you for all you have done for us.
A few years back, I was attending a wedding officiated by Rabbi Bernstein. And in her blessing to the couple, Rabbi Bernstein, you said that if the couple wants to achieve harmony, they have to provide for themselves a strong foundation of melody. That foundation is what everything is based on. Rabbi Bernstein, thank you for this year, for creating our community a strong melodic foundation, so that this year we could harmonize together, both you and me as individuals, with our musicians, and with our entire community. Thank you for helping this entire community enrich our souls with beautiful harmony.
Rabbi Bernstein, it has indeed been an honor and pleasure to have worked alongside you this past year. You are an amazing rabbi. an amazing teacher, and a wonderful friend. Your love for Beth Israel is without question. We are blessed to have had you these past many years, and I look forward to working with you in the months and years ahead. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being part of our family.
Shalom, everyone. My name is Martin Farron Goodwin, and I would like to share some words. Rabbi Bernstein, on behalf of Beth Israel, I wanted to express our appreciation during your tenure as the acting senior rabbi for our congregation, and also thank you for your dedication and your hard work and spiritual guidance during this last year while we search for a senior rabbi. Thank you for being an amazing spiritual leader that we could all look up to and rely on, and thank you for being there for all of us during a particularly challenging year. To thank you adequately is impossible. You spend long hours on so many community and congregation projects, wearing so many hats, and sacrificing so much of your own personal time. You took great care of all of us, and we have been truly blessed by your smile, your words of advice, your compassion, your kindness, your voice. Regardless of how many hours you had worked, you always made time for everyone. And you have made a huge difference, not only in my life, but in all of our lives. Beth Israel would not be the same without you. Again, Rabbi Bernstein, thank you. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And I wish you health, light, and blessings.
Cantor, Rabbi, friend Arlene, I want to thank you for all the ways that you have helped my family over this past year and many years before. You've always been there to help us grieve our losses, to find our way through sorrow, and to celebrate our mitzvahs and joys. It meant so much to have your visits with Remy and the ways that you reached out to my mom, and just your beautiful voice and your beautiful spirit have enriched our lives and made Congregation Beth Israel our Jewish home. Thank you, thank you.
Toda Rabba Arlene. We appreciate all of your hard work and dedication to our synagogue this past year. Our hearts are full of love and gratitude for you.
RC, we've been members for over 30 years, and we adore our relationship and friendship with you. We're very proud of you and so appreciative of your contributions to the congregation over your tenure, and especially over the last year as our acting senior rabbi. Modim Anak Nulak, we are grateful for you.
Hi, Rabbi Cantor. It's the Zeichner family. Debbie.
Mitch.
Chloe.
Evan.
And we just wanted to say thank you so much for all that you do for our community, for our congregation. We just wanted to express how grateful we are. We've had such an incredible year. We were so grateful for the time that we had with you in preparing for Evan's bar mitzvah, and just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
so
all
much.
you've done for us and supporting us along the way.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You've done so much to help influence my Jewish path, and I couldn't thank you enough in the 10 seconds I have. So instead, I'll cite a verse from Psalms. Mikol malamdai hiskalti, ki eid votecha sichali.
Thank you, RC, for taking time out of your day to teach choir. I know you were really busy. Thanks.
Thank you, RC, for teaching me 2 new songs on the piano. I really appreciate it, and I wish I could just give you one big hug.
Thank you, RC, for being our acting senior rabbi this past year. Before I joined choir, I would only sing in the shower or sometimes hum, but now I have the confidence to sing in front of people. Before you taught me the songs I know now, I only knew songs or half of songs or lyrics of songs from listening to them in services or at Kitman High or at preschool. But even then, I was probably not even singing the right notes. I know this was supposed to be a thank you for being our acting senior rabbi, but you're just too nice and you do too many not kind things that need to be praised. Thank you so much.
Hi, Rabbi Bernstein. I'm thrilled to be asked to be a part of this tribute to you and this thank you. Certainly, all these years together, I have appreciated you greatly, and certainly also as a member of the choir who gets the privilege of singing with you. But also it occurred to me that you have twice now been asked to take up the gauntlet. And first with Rabbi Goloboy and now with Rabbi Gimbel to keep the congregation running in the absence of a senior rabbi. And I am very grateful that you have done that, that you have agreed to do that. I know that you got more than you asked for, trying to keep a congregation together through a pandemic when we can't meet together. But you've done a wonderful job, and I and so many of us are grateful to you. Thank you.
Rabbi Bernstein, regardless of your responsibilities and your seemingly endless number of titles, you always seem to find precious time for us, our children, our grandchildren, and yes, even for Lucy. Thank you for embracing our immediate and extended family and friends with so much love and devotion for 23 years and counting. You have a heart of gold, and we love you forever.
Hi, Cantor. I just wanted to take the time to thank you for what you've done for me, what you've done for my family, what you've done for the synagogue, and what you've done for the Jewish community as a whole. Your work is invaluable, and you are an amazing person and leader.
Cantor, thank you so much for just being a constant source of support throughout my entire upbringing, and your influence will ensure that I will always be Jewish and be proud to be Jewish, so thank you. I know the rabbis say something about if you have a teacher, you acquire a friend. Well, in your case, you are a quintessential teacher and friend for me. I thank you for everything you do.
Arlene, you can see the impact you had on our entire family. Our lives would look very different and much less rich if it weren't for you. We value every day we have together and can't wait to keep making music with you for as long as you'll have us.
That's a good idea.